many times, and that's been on my end. So we'll certainly give Brandon a pass. As a Celtics fan, I look at this and why would you want to split up two great players like this? If you just watch the game from the other night, where the Celtics were ended up beating the Milwaukee Bucks, like I said, the defending champs, you saw how there was so much more space for Jayson Tatum to work inside. Same thing for Jaylen Brown. Even same thing for Marcus Smart. There was so much more room because teams couldn't double team Jayson Tatum anymore, or they couldn't double team Jaylen Brown. So one of them was open, and even though they have sort of the same body types, they have sort of different games. So it's not like they're the exact same player. And I just think it's crazy, Brandon, for any NBA team to think that you have to split up these two kinds of guys. These are the kinds of guys that every team wants. They want versatile wing defenders who can shoot, who can handle the ball, who can finish in transition, who are good guys. I mean, there's a question is, if Tatum, everybody keeps thinking that Tatum's the top guy, right? And is Tatum a killer? Is he a fierce enough guy where he wants to rip your throat out like a Kobe Bryant, like a LeBron, what LeBron became, like a Michael Jordan, like even like Dame Lillard's like that. Even I think Donovan Mitchell is like that, even though I think Tatum's better than Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has a snarl to him, and I think Tatum needs that. But these two guys are just such good guys that I think that's why people are like, oh, they need to be separated. You can see how much better they are on the floor together rather than apart. So I don't see why you would want to separate these two.
I've got two things for you. You actually brought up one of my things, so I'll get on to that one later. But let's start with the other one. I think you could see this in a couple of ways, to be honest. I think you can see that as being like, you're right, being like, why would you want to split these two up? We need to put more of a supporting cast around them that can allow them to flourish and maybe, get them to play a little bit of a different system that will actually match their talents a little bit better. Because I do think at times they play great together, to be honest.
Yeah.
And light it up. And like you said, it's kind of, I don't want to say Batman and Robin, because I think they're pretty much close, to be honest. It's like Batman and Batman. You got two Batmans out there.
Sure.
So it's nice to have, and in basketball, when you got five guys on the court, it's nice to have two go-to players at any point in time. And I think you do with both of those guys. So that's the one side of looking at it. The other side of looking at it, and this is what I'm hearing from some fans, including from some people right in my own family, is Jaylen Brown gets hurt too much and is not available enough right now. So do you dangle him out there as trade bait to see what you can get? And I think that is honestly a fair question. I really do, because he hasn't been available enough. And that is a skill in itself in sports, in professional sports, in high school sports, and anything. And say that to even my high school players. Being available is a skill. You know what I mean? You've got to be tough. You've got to play through certain injuries. You've got to be there for your team at all times. That's a skill, man, that not everybody has. I think Tatum has the notch above Brown when it comes to that, okay? And like I said, you can't knock a guy for getting injured. I get it. It does happen in sports. But I'm just saying there's two sides of it. So you can see not splitting them up. And then there's the other question of, if you are going to split them up, I'm thinking it's Jaylen Brown is the one that you dangle and see what you can get in return. And the one guy that I would definitely want to get him for, which rumor has it right now, has been unhappy the last couple of weeks. And even though they're trying to tone those down in Portland, that those rumors are wrong. And even Dame Lillard is saying that rumor's wrong. Rumors are still coming out that he's unhappy and wants to be traded. So guess what? Dame time all day here in Boston. And then, like you said, you have a guaranteed killer there at the end, a guy that is not going to shy away from the big moment. And guess what? Tatum can actually defer to Damian Lillard. I think right now at times, I don't necessarily think he can defer to Jaylen Brown because they're just as good. But I'm telling you, I think he could defer to Damian Lillard, especially when we're looking for that last second shot.
Yeah, I think, some NBA writers have even said, if Dame Lillard were on the Celtics, let's say all three of them were together, too, is that, Lillard, because he's now in his 30s, which is sort of old in the NBA. We're in our 30s and we feel great. But Dame Lillard wouldn't have to carry the team every night. Tatum can kind of do that, and he's just not the guy at the end of the game who's, ripping the throat out of the other team. But he's going to get the 26 and the 8 rebounds and the 4 assists every night, and then Lillard can kind of just do his thing. And then nights when Tatum's off, Jaylen Brown can pick up the slack, or both of them, and then Lillard can be more of a facilitator. So that's the type of thing that people have been talking about. You're right with Jalen. You're right. That's why Jayson Tatum is a notch above Jaylen Brown, is because of the health concerns. Jaylen Brown has just been banged up. It hasn't been anything super serious. At the end of last year, I can't remember if he broke his thumb or if he tore a ligament in his thumb, but he was out because of that. They didn't bring him back. They weren't going to make a run in the playoffs. But yeah, Jaylen Brown has just not been durable. Meanwhile, I was trying to think back, I can't remember, other than being out with COVID, I can't remember Jayson Tatum being out for more than a game. I don't remember that. Even as much as he played as a rookie, he started a ton of games as a rookie and came off the bench a lot as a rookie and played a lot as a rookie player in the NBA. And I can't remember him having a serious injury or even pulling a hamstring or anything like that when he was out for a week or 2 weeks or whatever. So that's part of it. And I don't want to split these guys up because I do think if let's say you get a third star, you need a Jaylen Brown type who, when Miami, when LeBron went to Miami and Chris Bosh went to Miami, it was LeBron who was the top player. Dwayne Wade was second banana, and then Bosh was the most unselfish, where he kind of took a backseat to the other two, but was still a great player and is going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
I feel like Jaylen Brown, with his personality, with his versatility, he doesn't always have to have the ball in his hands. He's a good spot-up three-point shooter now, really good in transition, and he's a good defender. He can kind of be that third guy in a championship team, and I think it would be easier for him to do that and still be an elite player, and if you bring another guy in. So I think he's kind of perfect for that piece. So, I would hate to trade a guy like Jaylen Brown, who now you have locked up for a couple of years with Tatum. That's the other thing. These two guys are locked up together for the next couple of years. Whereas there's other teams who stars, they don't like it there for a year. I'm already hearing that the Pelicans should trade Zion Williamson. It's like, and part of it is because of his foot injury, but he doesn't want to stay there. He wants to go to New York and all this kind of stuff. And he hasn't even played a full season. And, people are saying he already needs to be traded. Look at what happened to Harden. Look at what happened to Russell Westbrook. All these guys, if they want to, they're going to leave. The Celtics have these two young guys who like playing with each other. That's never been the issue, who get along. They're not best friends, but they get along really well on this team. Why would you want to break that up? I think it's so hard to pair two guys together. If you want to get that third guy to win a title, you already have the pair. It's a lot easier to add that third guy than it is to kind of start all over. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't split these guys up at all.
I'm going to side with you here and say we should keep them together and get a third piece to have the big three. We've said that many times on this show. In the NBA, you need a big three, but we currently just have a big two. So we really do need that third piece. My one question back to you is just, would Portland not want one of those guys? So would you even be able to pull a deal without trading Brown? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not they would definitely want one of those guys. I think it's the same thing with the Sixers if they're trying to trade Ben Simmons, or the Pacers who want to they probably want to trade Turner over Sabonis. But if I'm the Celtics, I would love to get. I think Sabonis would fit perfectly with the Celtics. But you'd want to keep the other two guys. So any player that's going to be available, you want to keep Tatum and Brown to make that championship team. The other team's going to ask for Tatum and Brown, but I don't think the Celtics are going to give it up. So you got to try to put a package together where you match salaries with a guy like Marcus Smart, who's valuable to a team, a guy like Al Horford, who's good for the locker room and just a good fundamentally sound player who's a good mentor to young guys. And he's got a big salary, but that's when he leaves, you have the trade exception, all that kind of thing. And then you have you package a Robert Williams. You're going to have to. He's probably your best young player to trade because he doesn't make it, compared to what he is with size and athleticism, he doesn't make a ton of money. He just got an extension, but he's not making $20 million a year. And then you throw in a couple of your young guys with, Romeo Langford, Aaron Nesmith, Peyton Pritchard, and then you got to give up a ton of picks. And if you're the Celtics, you're going to be in the playoffs every year as long as these guys stay healthy. So these picks aren't going to be worth, that much anyway. So then you got to give up a few picks down the road, put, conditions on them, and then get your guy. I mean, that's how they're going to have to do it. I don't know if it's going to happen. Teams are now kind of reevaluating what they want in trades too, with the player empowerment movement is kind of changing things. So we'll see what happens. I think there's a move to be made, like a Drew Holiday when the Bucks picked up Drew Holiday last offseason. I thought that would have been perfect for the Celtics. Didn't happen for them, but you saw what Drew Holiday did for the Bucks. So that's something that I think they could do as well. So we'll see. I mean, the thing is, I think they're in good position to make a deal and still hold on to their two top players, but it's just going to take some more time.
I hope you're right, man. I hope we can keep both of them and still get a third player. Because like I said, we need a big three. We need, whether it's a center, like you said, Sabonis would be that big three, in my opinion, or Dame Lillard. You need another star that you can go through in a big moment. And the Celtics are lacking that right now. So Brad Stevens, come on, man. Pull a move, pull a trade. Let's move on to topic number 8.